Tom, if you would mention your name, your business, and your business title first.
Okay.
Then there's a yes, I appreciate it.
Okay, my name is Tom Limon, I'm past president, but also, by day, I'm a commercial real estate broker with Newmarket. Today I have two very special guests. This is their, I don't believe this is their first meeting. But anyway, you might see them on service days, they're active in the community. And this is Lena going into first grade. And this one who's gonna pick me a little later is Natalia going back to sixth grade at Booker School.
How many other visitors? You have a shot. Oh, Julie. Oh, what you talking about? Hold on. Talk about that.
I too have a very special guest. My name is Julian Lowe, Kearns.
And where do you work, Julian?
And where do I work? I work at Rotary Oakland Investments and Wellington Property Company. We do commercial real estate and property management. This is my very special guest. Shannon graciously reminded me that this is not his first visit, because when he was last year, I was probably just kidding. This is Tyson, my son. He is 10, and welcome.
All right, anybody else? All right, I'm walking back.
Thank you, Sergeant at Arms. So now I'd like to welcome Harold Lowe III. He is a planner with Frontier Wealth Strategies, a manager of Lowe Consulting Group. And Harold, please share a thought for the day with us.
Yeah. Thank you, Coach Joe, Rotarians, distinguished and undistinguished guests. I don't know how to call the booty thing, but I'll try. When the president asked me to provide my thought for the day, it occurred to me that I have a lot of thoughts. A lot of thoughts. For example, what good at pancake? I don't know, but I love you. What's worse, to leave the toilet seat up at the dead of night and let my wife possibly stumble, or to take fate in my own hands and aim in the darkness and leave the seat down and let her have to deal with the result. I don't know what's going. There's so many thoughts. Now, I'm gonna pick up a couple people in the room. If I ran Fairyland, must I pledge to hold firm as a sanctuary for fairies? Or do I let the ogre come in and terrorize, torture, and deport them after 75 years of mutual understanding? If I gave in to the disruption of the ogre, will we have another shot at democracy again? Or would the 2020 Fairyland reflect more like 1938 German land? Thoughts? Finally, today is National Purple Heart Day, reminding us of those who offered courage and purpose amid decisive peril to themselves and to others. Today is also National Lighthouse Day. And if not for the lighthouse shining its signal to direct the path, many would be lost. And acknowledging somewhere in between the two, I ask that as leaders, and you're all leaders in here today, we bravely shine the light on the dangers we face, that we face ahead when we turn the other way, to ignore them. Thank you.
Now I'd like to welcome to the microphone and to the podium, past President Mary Young. She's a CPA and a parole agent. She brought her own podium. Is she special? She is special. And she's going to share with us some thoughts about the Rotary International Convention in Calgary. Yahoo, Ray!
Well, I've been joining. Oh, yeah. Hi. This is fun. Yes. So anyway, I am past president Mary Young. Good afternoon. And Coach Joe asked me to give you a brief summary about the Calgary International Convention back in June 21st to 25th in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. There was 8 Rotarians and spouses joining 51-7 district, we had about almost 100 people from the district. And some of the comments I got from the people visits that we enjoyed the Rotary Convention and the Canadian hospitality. The public transportation was awesome and the Alberta state was excellent. Next slide, please. Okay, well, the convention happened to be 1 week before the annual Calgary Stampede, which gets 1 million attendees every year. And at the Stampede, everybody says, Yahweh. And then, but for us, special conference, they did a mini Stampede for us. And you can see white hats everywhere. You can see down the lower picture, a sea of white hats. And that's their special emblem of the Calgary Stampede. So you go visit the Stampede someday, get yourself a white hat. And you can see the last one, beautiful. Next slide, please. Okay, one of the benefits of going to a convention is that there's the fellowship house, and we have a mini one at our district conference, but you know, when you get a worldwide convention, over 100 booths around the world, focusing on the 7 areas of focus. And you can see 5170 has a Vietnam project booth, and these are Rotarians from the South Bay. And then you see Joe wandering over to the Alzheimer group. I think he's trying to get information more about that for future references. And that's Marcia Howard, Brad Howard's wife, manning the booth. Next slide, please. Another benefit of going to the convention is meeting new friends from around the world. So Joe, got to meet the new RI president, Francesco Arezzo from Italy. And so they shook hands, and now they're buddy. I got a chance to meet Sylvia Whitlock. Now, some of you guys have met her before. She's the first woman to join the Rotary Club back in the 1980s in Central California. And when she joined, RI says, no, you can't accept women members. So they revoked their charter. So the club said, hell no, we're going to sue you. So they sue RI, went all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court in 1989 says, no, you cannot discriminate on membership based on sex, gender, origin, religion, whatever. So they reinstated the club, and Sylvia Whitlock was the first women member in Rotary Club. And then now women has been in Rotary Club 35 years, so it's really recent. And then, 80 now maybe, but she's still going strong. And I also got to meet some Korean Rotarians wear their national culture outfit. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, next slide, please. Okay, another benefit is enjoying fellowship and reconnection with people around the world. We have a guest speaker, Cheryl Lander was there, and District Governor-elect Gita's there, and San Jose Lieutenant Brenda's there. And then Joe found John and Gwendolyn Gresby. I saw them there too. And then he found Lori St. Clair. Joe was running all over the convention. But Lori St. Clair was our past executive director of this club. She's now a member of the club in Washington State. And then down the bottom too, we have fellowship. We had dinner at the Calgary Tower, the 360-degree revolving restaurant. And then we had Chinese dinner in Calgary, Chinatown. There was 8 clubs representing in our fellowship dinner. And finally, we found Mike Mowry, who's a former Oakland Rotarian, who's now living in Oregon. So connections, reconnection, and then just talk to my guest, Martha. She might be in Taiwan, so that'll be another way to reconnect with Rotarians around the world. Next slide. Okay, so anyway, so next year, give your heads up. 2026 convention is in Taiwan, Taipei, Taiwan. So think about it. Sign up for the early bird discount. Save your money, and then we also Joe. I was able to do a flag exchange with a Taiwan club
at the convention. So I'm here to present you your first exchange flag from Taiwan.
No,
No picture.
we'll do it later. Thank you so much. Something too, for organizing a trip to Calgary and for other Chinese come and for connections with the service of South Efforts. There you go.
Okay.
Thank you. Now I'm gonna- the first things to do is to induct the- Hans, would you this slow? Fred is president of Morse Consulting.
Morse management.
Thank you, Fred. Fred, before you mention a couple of interesting facts about Derek, I want to present you with a Powerhouse 401 test coin and thank you for sponsoring a member this year. Welcome.
Giants. Please raise your hand if you've ever heard of the East Bay Rental Housing Association. Oh my God, that's more than I thought. You're going to learn more. Our newest member, Derek Barnes, is CEO of EBRA, whose members provide rental housing in Alameda and Contra Costa County. Over the last 4.5 years, Derek has created a new vision, advanced the mission of EBRA, and is one of the best CEOs our board of directors have ever hired. In fact, we got Chris Moore, board of director. Here are just a few facts. Born and raised in New York, his father worked for the United Artists and his mother owned a catering business on Long Island. He traveled to over 35 countries on 6 continents and received his PADI, open water dive certification at the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. He's also a cyclist who can join Joe and a few other people who are cyclists here. Okay, please welcome back.
Oh, wow.
It's recognized. We now have 250 new friends here in Oakland and 1.2 million around the world.
Wow.
To your Rotary 4-way test. The 4-way test is our rule book for how we live our business and personal life. And so I want to welcome you with a hearty welcome to Oakland Rotary. I present to you our newest superstar, Derek Barnes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Now I'm so fortunate we get to do it a second time. Remember, Shannon.
I'm the new one.
Shannon was president of Oakland Rotary, and Shannon was also the owner of a retail firm specializing in signage design for large campus institution named Shannon Lay Designs. Shannon, I want to present you right that's great. I'm sure it's your first. Okay, so introduce your new material.
Thank you, Coach Joe. Well, it's my great pleasure to welcome to the events here at the cathedral. I would like to introduce our newest member, Erica Mendez. Erica is the External Affairs Manager for an amazing nonprofit called Hively that works to support Alameda County's families relating to health, education, and childcare. Did I get that? Erica is a native Oaklander In addition to, so two interesting facts. In addition to traveling over 16 countries, and she wants that list to grow, which is very likely it will be. She also has conquered a fear of jumping this summer, to be confused with a fear of heights, by jumping 150 feet off a suspended rope bridge situated in the cloud forest of Costa Rica. She also has a knack, this sounds a little esque. Erica has a knack for helping others tell their own story, especially for their professional resume and career advancement. She has helped well over 100 people in 10 years, all in fun. It gives me great pleasure in our Rotarian Erica Louise.
Erica, let me present you your, it's recognized worldwide. And now you have 250 new friends here in Oakland and 1.2 wide. Also, as a packet, again, of our four-way test, which is kind of our creed, our Rotary rulebook, how we aspire to be ethical in business and in our personal lives. I also have a cap. So welcome. Welcome to, I have a cap too. So I present to you our superstar, Eric Nunez.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I should mention that Erica is Ivy. Ivy. Thank you.
Oh, I have to get a good.
Good job, Tom. Just right here for a second.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. Ooh. So just a couple quick announcements. See a for an annual survey. If you get your annual survey before you head out the door today, there's a bottle of wine waiting for you back there, courtesy of our DEI committee. And now I'd like to call Jason, Country Village. Jason's going to give us a quick update. It's a really cool. Thank you. 6500 Broadway. It's August 28th. You come. It's catered. Of course, there's it's just going to be have some fun, fellowship, and did I already say fun? That's how much fun we're going to have. Twice the amount we have. Did I mention there will be some kind of alcoholic beverages for those unless there are some. All right. So when is it? Good, Dave. You're so good, Dave. And it's from 5 to ish, whatever, 7:30 or 8. And it's a good time. We'll see you there, okay? One more quick thing. No, I want to finish up on something. Go for it. So if you get to that's Jesse's sent cast. If you haven't seen it, I should say, because David said yes, you have. Then please go and some. Did I already say we're gonna have fun? Oh, that's not true. Kids under 10, I think 14 and under are free. So all the 3 kids in this room, you guys are eating for free. So we're not going to make you pay. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Jason. So one quick announcement, since we're talking about money, our Rotary dues were due on July 1st. They now are past due. So please take a moment to try to get those dues paid, so we don't have to send out past due invoices and make some calls and whatnot. So I appreciate that. Also, our Fukuoka student ambassador from Fukuoka is arriving this Sunday. I'll push out some opportunities for you to join us while she's here for the week, and she'll be at our meeting next week. Now I'd like to bring up Ahmad Anderson. And Ahmad is Director of People and Culture at the Gardens at Golden Gate Park. Ahmad is going to introduce our fabulous speaker for today. Ahmad?
Thank you, President Coach Joe. So good afternoon, Oakland Rotary members and guests. It is my pleasure to introduce two dynamic leaders who are deeply engaged in advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion within our Rotary District 5170, Cheryl Lander and Vanessa Nguyen. Today, they will guide us through an important and thought-provoking topic. Is it fair to all concerned? DEI through the lens of the Rotary four-way test. My father once told me, nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream. One must wake up to realize the dream. And I believe that today, Cheryl and Vanessa will awaken us to new possibilities, greater purpose, and a bold vision for what DEI can truly look like in Rotary. I'm confident that Cheryl and Vanessa will inspire us to move beyond good intentions to action, to impact, and to a Rotary that truly reflects values we hold dear. Fellow Rotarians, let us give a warm Oakland Rotary welcome to Cheryl Lander and Vanessa Nguyen.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. It's really great to be here. And I just want to say I really appreciated that you stood for your new members. That is a great way to make them feel like they belong. So kudos to you. So I'm Cheryl Lander. I am the past president of Silicon Valley Rainbow Rotary. I'm also on the Rotary International LGBT Plus Fellowship Board, and I do DEI work for the district. And how I come to this work is that I was the global board co-chair at Oracle for the Employee Resource Group for LGBTQ plus people. I sometimes refer to myself as part of the queer community, which can be jarring because we typically associate queer negatively, but I am reclaiming that, and many of my community members are also holding on to that and reclaiming that. Also, before I introduce or have Vanessa introduce herself, I just want to note that your club has been involved in diversity work for a very long time. You were one of the clubs that had women in waiting right after the Supreme Court approved women in Rotary. So give yourself a hand there. You also, your president in 1996-97, Carl Stuckey, created a diversity committee. And you worked with a lot of different organizations, including Unity Council, a Latino organization in the Fruitvale district. So kudos for that as well. And you have focused on diverse membership. Look around, it's very obvious. And I'm sure the folks on the Zoom look exactly like the folks in this room, a quite diverse group. So now I'll have Vanessa introduce herself.
Thanks, Cheryl, and thank you everyone for having me today. My name is Vanessa. My pronouns are she, hers. I'm the president-elect for the San Francisco Bay Area Rotary Club, and I am the District 5170 Interact Chair. So I'm really passionate about DEI. I've been involved with restorative justice and facilitated dozens of restorative justice dialogues for San Diego community members. And I'm really passionate about having meaningful, open conversations about everyone from different backgrounds, about different topics as well.
So we want to go back.
Yeah, can we go back one slide, please? Yes, perfect, this slide. So I want to have everyone take a look at this photo, and I want to ask, is this fair to all concerned? And can I just hear one or two people just shout out? No. Why no?
Does not fit all.
Thank you. That is correct. One size does not fit all. And this session will be using the four-way test. as a lens to explore diversity, equity, and inclusion.
So first, we want to go into the four-way test. So you have it posted here, but I don't know how many people know the history. So I want to talk a little bit about, if you can move to the next slide, please, Peter. The four-way test was developed by Herbert Taylor, who is shown in this picture, in 1932 as a business ethics guide. He was asked to bring a company that was near bankruptcy into solvency. And so he looked at their code of conduct, he looked at all of the documentation they had around how they orient themselves, threw it out, and wrote the four-way test. He tried it on, he applied it to the business, he applied it to marketing material. He found that they could no longer say we're the biggest, we're the best, because they weren't. And so by applying the four-way test, he was very successful in bringing this business out of bankruptcy and went on to lead the company for many years. He also gained the trust of his competitors by doing this. So think about that, reflecting that, we're going to get back to basics. And so in a way, that's what we want to do with DEI. The four-way test is a universal, simple message, and it hasn't changed since 1932, which is quite amazing. The other thing that I like to talk about is that the four-way test has been translated into like 200 languages or some very large amount, and proves to be something that Rotarians do take to heart.
Next slide, please. So this is a glance at the four-way test, and I want to associate each of these with a test of values. And I believe that we can agree. You also have a handout on your tables if you want to take a look. Is it the truth? Can be related to accuracy and integrity. Is it fair to all concerned? Is talking about fair opportunities, impartiality, and transparency. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Is it about trust, collaboration, and reputation? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Is about avoiding harm and mutual gain.
Okay, next slide. So now what we're going to do is buzz through all four of the statements and talk about these values in a little bit deeper way. So truth is about building credibility. And think about that. In your community, you want to be a credible organization to attract people. Accuracy is important because misinformation can lead to reinforcing biases and stereotypes and making people feel like they don't belong. It also means that you recognize each other's lived experience and authenticity, which from my perspective as a queer person, I want to be able to be myself in my club. Demonstrating integrity shows that the club is trustworthy and dependable, and that leads to credibility and respect. Again, something that you want your club to have in your community. So next slide. Is it fair? So fairness is where you strive for outcomes that support the common good. It forces you to look at a broad set of values and long-term effects. Being impartial means that you are acting without favoritism and prejudice and prioritizing your collective well-being. Providing fair opportunities means people have the necessary resources, opportunities, and support to thrive. And I love that word, thrive. We want everyone in our clubs to thrive. When benefits are distributed fairly, people feel seen, respected, and supported, and then they can also see themselves in leadership positions, which is another thing that we want to do. We want to encourage all members of our club to consider leadership. Next slide, please. So goodwill and friendship, positive and supportive environments where people consider how their actions affect interactions with others helps develop goodwill and deep friendships. And again, that's what Rotarians like to do. Notice the slides that Mary showed about all the friends that she met in Calgary. That's what we love to do. Building trust through honest, respectful, and considerate interactions fosters genuine relationships where people are free to be themselves. Again, that goes back to the authenticity. Achieving common goals through collaboration promotes a culture of support and shared success. And that's something that we want with the nonprofits and other organizations that we do service projects with. Reputation built on integrity, fairness, empathy attracts and retains people who value trust, kindness, and collaboration. Next slide, please. beneficial to all. This helps us think about the broader impact of our actions and drives us to make decisions that have positive impact. Avoiding harm means we minimize adverse effects by actively listening to those that we work with. And this is really important in our service projects. We should not be assuming that we know what a group needs, but work with them to identify where their deepest needs are. And when we practice mutual gain, we prioritize everyone's well-being, reducing the risk of leaving anyone behind. Oh, word cloud. Okay, so the next slide. This is a word cloud that basically shows some of the values that we've talked about that are common with DEI. And so if you look at those words, fairness, collective well-being, listening deeply, building trust, credibility, growth, all of that is really core to building a good foundation of values from which you do the work that you do.
Next slide. So the previous slide. There we go. Thank you. So the four-way test is a great moral compass, but it doesn't tell us everything. It doesn't tell us who's missing in the room and how people feel in this room. So these are specific questions that diversity, equity, and inclusion ask. DEI asks, like, who is not here in the room with us? Who feels like they don't belong here? And are we reaching everyone equally or equitably? And I want to reiterate that DEI does not replace Rotary's values. It helps us live Rotary's values more fully. And so the next slide, I want to talk about RI's commitment to DEI. So Rotary International defines DEI as integral and not separate from who we are. DEI is really about making Rotary a welcoming, fair, and strong community. And you can find many different definitions of DEI around the world, but what's important to us is to know how Rotary International defines them and integrates them into Rotary. And diversity, equity, inclusion at its core is about welcoming everyone, treating people fairly, and ensuring that every member in Rotary feels like they belong. And it's not political. It's about growing our clubs, inspiring leaders, fostering a sense of belonging that enriches the entire Rotary experience for everyone. And then next slide, please. So that's a little bit more about Rotary International's definitions. As you can see here, you can find more information on Rotary's website as well. And I want to revisit that photo on the last slide. So if you can move forward, thank you. So this is a different image from what we saw in the beginning. And now my question is this fair to all concerned? Can I hear some voices? Yeah. Why is it different? Why is it fair now? Yes, exactly. This image is fair to all concerned because we're meeting people where they are and we're understanding that not one size fits all. And so I would go as far to say that DEI is not extra work. It's meeting people where they are. It's what keeps Rotary relevant today, and it's what inspires people to be their authentic self.
All right, so when we first developed this this presentation that we're doing with you, we did it at the District Learning Assembly, and it was a 45-minute session. So we have condensed it quite a bit, and we are leaving time for you all to talk because we strongly believe that we don't want to just talk. We want you all to be part of the conversation. So this next slide has some questions that we'd like you to talk about at your table. We'll give you 5 minutes. We have a good amount of time left here. So if you can think about, do you think that DEI does pass the four-way test? And if so, what's stopping or challenging us from applying it and implementing it? How can you ensure your club members can be their true authentic selves and have a true sense of belonging? What steps can be taken to make your club more diverse, equitable, inclusive, and to exemplify the four-way test? And one thing I just want to leave you with one little story. So, when we talk about fair to all concerned, so something you may not know about me is that I'm fairly deaf. I'm partially deaf, but pretty bad. And I have hearing aids. And so if my club members notice that I come to the meeting without my hearing aids, I really appreciate when they say, come to the front of the room, sit here, so you at least have an advantage to hear, or a possibility to hear the speaker. If you're back in the room, you're not going to hear it. And so that's like, the diagram with the different bikes. I get a little special treatment, but it's also allowing me to access the same information that my club members do. All right, so we'll give you 5 minutes. Please reflect, and we have the handout on the table if that helps your conversation, and we'll walk around and check in on you. Thank you.
Hi, Linda. Are we in a chat room?
I could do the rest of that. Okay. All right, folks, let's bring it back. So would anyone like to share anything that you talked about at your table? Anything relevant to your current club? Oh, whistle. Joe with a whistle. I could have whistled, but Montana girl here, I could have really whistled. Okay, I'll come over to you. And we just have a few minutes here, so.
We were delighted to learn that Guadalupe's Monterrey, Mexico club started in 1991. It's all women.
That's pretty amazing. All right, anyone else? All right.
I want to thank you and your partner for this presentation, and I'm glad to see our club committed to DEI. It's really important. And we have a DEI moment right here, right now in this room. In my opinion, having a meeting, a Rotary meeting in a Catholic church or a Jewish synagogue or a Hindu temple or a Shinto shrine is wrong. Okay, we're a non-sectarian, non-political organization. And by simply having a meeting in a Catholic church, there's a statue of the Virgin Mary and Jesus Christ. They publicize it as the cathedral, but they leave off the word of Christ the light. Okay, so I think there have to be a bunch of locations in Oakland that are not politically or religiously associated. I think locating. Excuse me. Let me finish. Let me finish. No, I don't care.
Please let the man say what he has to say.
Folks need to feel safe in the place and respect.
Thank you. I've made my point. I think it's a mistake, and I hope that every one of you Rotarian members will think carefully about whether or not we want to associate our Rotary Club with any particular religious organization. I don't think we do. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you for sharing. I totally agree with you, Ahmed. I mean, it's important that we share views that we may not agree with, right? And build safe place for people to speak their mind. All right, so we're going to buzz through just a few slides and then open it up to questions if you have any. So these are resources that are available at the district level. So next slide. So this is about the committee, our mission and our vision and what we are up to. So increasing awareness, providing resources, encouraging clubs, supporting underserved communities, identified needs, again, which we do through service projects, and accomplish and rewards clubs for the work that you're doing in DEI. We didn't do it last year, but we will do it this year, where we ask clubs to talk about their DEI work, and then we will give stipends. Next slide. So these are resources that are from DEI or from RI International, so Rotary International. So we're not doing this in a vacuum. I am very grateful that Rotary is not changing the terminology of DEI. In the political climate in which we find ourselves, that's somewhat hard to believe. But again, when you go back to the four-way test values, I think it makes sense because there is a values-based way to be within Rotary. Next slide. These are resources that we have curated and the website off of the district site that lists all of these resources. Next slide. And then this is what we like to highlight, the clubs that are doing things. So, you know, these are examples, and we'll make sure you have copies of these slides if you're curious about this. Okay, and then last slide, I think. These are the committee members. Oh, actually, I have one more. So we are all over the district. If DEI is your passion, we'd love to add you. And next slide, if you're, call to action here. So if you're passionate about DEI, we'd love to add you. So I don't know if we have time for questions or not. I can stick around.
Yeah. I think we have time for one quick question. And if you guys would be willing to take questions afterwards, that would be great. Is there a question? Barry?
So I'm glad to hear that RI is still committed with DEI, but you can see in the corporate world, in today's environment, DEI is changing rapidly, including your own former company, Oracle. Many of the Silicon Valley says, do away with DEI. How do you feel about that?
Well, I view it as a pendulum swing, right? I mean, anything politically can go back the other direction. I know that the people in D&I and other things like that in the corporate world are really struggling with how they can rename it, recast it, and still keep a lot of the value, because there is value in having affinity groups where people who are like you meet. So that's something that I would hate to see go away. So I think we're just experiencing a pendulum.
Thank you, Cheryl and Vanessa. I appreciate you giving us some history on the four-way test, how it integrates somewhat well with DEI, and giving us some of the enduring attributes of DEI. And I do believe that DEI is a way for us to be more welcoming to the broader world. And one of the most important things for a Rotary Club is membership, both in attracting members and the care and feeding of our existing members. So I think we want to make sure we are open to all views, and this is a way for us to give it some conscious thought. So I want to thank you for your presentation today and let you know we made a donation in both of your honor to the Polio Plus program. So know that you're helping end polio in the world. I think over the last 3+ decades, we've reduced the reported polio cases 99.9%. It's down to 2 endemic countries and war-torn endemic countries in Pakistan and Afghanistan. We are this close. So thank you. But I also want you to take something with you. I have a Rotary four-way test coin for you. I hope you will appreciate it, and we appreciate you being here. Yeah. I'd like to ring the bell for Ralph Sklar and Diane Norman, oldest facing life challenges with bravery, and I ring the bell on the press.
Thank you, Joe. I get to see Cheryl in particular a little bit behind the scenes at the district, just getting to know Vanessa. But I'd really like to ring the bell for all they do for us as a club, for the district, and their work with DEI. Come on, Joe.
Ahmad Anderson, I like to ring the bell in hopes that no one here is sleepwalking today, and that you have been truly awakened by what you've heard today, and that from the examples of the questions that have been answered, what's been said, shows that we all are vulnerable, and we can't have one foot on the beach and one foot in the water around DEI. If we stand behind the four-way test, then we need to study up and be able to pass that test in what we say and what we do.
Members of the DEI committee to stand. I know Ahmad's here, and Kimberly's here, and Will is here, and Carrie is here. And Bill is here. This presentation was in honor of them. There are two, I believe there's a QR code on your table. That's to complete the annual survey. And if you get that done today before you leave, there's a bottle of wine, or at least promise to get it done today. There's a bottle of wine courtesy of the DI committee waiting for you at that back table. Is David Stein out there? David's of council with Donahue Fitzgerald Eternities, and he's going to let us know what our program has next week.
And quickly before I let you know the next week's program, we have a visiting Rotarian who didn't get introduced. Frank Yoke is the president of San Francisco #2, visiting us from across the bay. The 9th busiest seaport in the United States, 20 miles of waterfront property, 10 million airline passengers a year. Next week at Oakland Rotary, meet the woman in charge of all, air, land, and sea, Christy McKinney, Executive Director of the Oakland San Francisco Bay Airport here at Oakland Rotary.
Yeah, thank you, David. Derek, Fred's not with you, but if you'd wander to the back of the room, Shannon, if you and Erica would wander to the back of the room so we can greet you at the end of the meeting. I want to quickly shout out a couple thank yous. Harold Lowe for the thought of today, Jesse Smith for the awesome meeting sponsor, Mary Jiang for an update on the Rotary Convention in Calgary, Fred Morris and Shannon Hackley for sponsoring new members. Thank you. Derek Barnes and Erica Nunez are new members. Ahmad Anderson for a great speaker. Cheryl Lander and Vanessa Nagwin for a great program. David Stein, thank you for great speakers. Julie Fox for the lunch. Carla Betts for the tables. And Peter Shares, Armand, and AV team for all your hard work on an away game. And Jesse Bodle for all the coordination. So let's leave this meeting. One, thank you all for finding your way here. I appreciate you being here. I know it was a little extra effort. Let's leave with through Rotary, world peace will come someday, and we will end polio too. Look out, Oakland Rotary is on the run. This meeting is adjourned.